Hey everybody, it's Deanna. It is January 9th, 2013, and I am here to do part 2 of my eating disorder and food addiction video series. Um, I know a lot of you guys posted and emailed me asking. Melissa is doing really well. They sent her to a center in California, and she got some really great help there. She has gained quite a bit of weight, and she's actually working at the center. They hired her there. She has her own apartment, and she got a new car, and she's doing really, really well. And I think I'll put a few pictures of her at the end of the video so you guys can see the transformation that she's made. It's really awesome. And also, I talked to the reporter, Francesca Donlin, who did this story on us in the paper in 2005, and she's no longer there, but she has contacted the new lifestyles editor, and they're going to do an update on me in the paper. So that'll be going on pretty soon, and I'll make sure I keep everybody updated, and I'll post the links when it comes out in the paper because I'll have it online on the computer. So this part is in chapter 2. This might be a little lengthy because I found some information on the internet. I am not a doctor, I am not a psychiatrist, but I did look around on, I found some information on a website called Web for Health, and I'll read some of that. But on chapter 2, we just started talking about me being on the Atkins high protein low carb diet, and Melissa was scared to put a black olive on her salad because she knew that it was a fat. And we were back and forth while she was here at my house because I was trying to help her, and she would not put protein, no chicken, no olives, nothing on her salads. But it talked about us living on our disabilities, and said Deanna and Melissa did not enjoy eating out. Deanna, who struggled with compulsive eating, was self-conscious about fitting into booths, and some bathroom stalls at restaurants were so tight she could not use them. That's kind of sad and depressing, and I don't want to get emotional on this video, but this is an emotional journey for anyone that faces food addiction and binging, bulimia, compulsive overeating, even anorexia. Just 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks ago or last week, my neighbor Diana and I went out to eat lunch, and I didn't even hesitate when we went in when they set us at a booth, and because I fit in the booth. And I knew I had lost enough weight where I was going to be comfortable in the booth, and I was not going to embarrass myself by telling whoever. I used to tell my mom, just make sure when we go in the restaurant that you ask them for a table, because I knew I was not going to fit in the booth. Then they kind of talked about how our eating got out of control. My grandmother and grandfather raised me from the age of 7 up till I got married at age 21. And my grandmother was a stickler on nutrition. And I mean, I would come out of my room in the morning to get ready for school, and she would have a slice of dry toast and a piece of low-fat sliced cheese over the toast where it kind of melted on the toast, but no butter or anything, and a glass of juice or something. Granny always was trying to watch what I ate. It said, food began to rule Deanna's life when she got her first car. Up to that point, her grandmother, whom she lived with, served her healthy snacks and meals, but Deanna enjoyed candy. My grandmother, when we got home from school, when all the other kids were getting cookies and things like that, Granny either had us a box of raisins, the little boxes of raisins, or she would slice bell peppers and cucumbers into sticks, and that was what our afternoon snack was when we got home from school. But my very first car was a green Hornet, and there was a 7-Eleven right at the end of the street from my high school. So when I was old enough to be able to drive to school, I would whip into the 7-Eleven and get one of the little brown beer bags that people used to put a can of beer in, and fill it with chocolate footballs, atomic fireballs, double bubble gum, and bags of peanut M&Ms. And there were points there were points when I actually would sneak into my grandparents' room and go into my grandfather's wallet and steal money to buy the treats on my way to school, to support my candy habit. At home, my two younger brothers, Philip and Jamie, could eat just about anything they wanted, but Deanna's tall, thin grandmother watched carefully what Deanna ate to try to help her not to become fat. I got married in 1980, and my jealous fits, as it says in the article, ended my marriage. And that was basically, I mean, you know, no marriage is perfect. There's things on both ends. But I was so down on myself because of my weight that if he talked to the neighbor or a girl at the store or something, I went ballistic, and we fought, and he put up with it for a couple of years, and one day he told me, "I love you more than anything on this earth." He said, "But I cannot deal with the jealousy anymore." And he asked me to leave. And I remarried about 9 years later, and that divorce ended in less than a year marriage. That had nothing to do with the jealousy. That was something on his part. And I was not obese at that point. I moved away to be with a man that I thought I was in love with, and he was very abusive. Not physically, but mentally and verbally. And he was doing a lot of things behind my back, and I tried to leave, and he caught me up the interstate and told me if I left again that he would come down here to where I lived. We were 10 hours away, and basically do my grandparents in. So I feared for them, and I feared for myself, and I stayed in the relationship. And in 1995, he was murdered right in front of me by his daughter-in-law. She shot him, and she was trying to shoot his son, her husband, and she shot him. And going through a traumatic, even though he was not a good person all the time, seeing someone get killed, regardless of who it was, I mean, he didn't deserve what happened to him that day, but it spiraled me out of control. I had lost 93 pounds, and I had gotten down into a size 12 and 13, and after this happened, I sunk into a depression. I was seeking counseling for post-traumatic stress syndrome and everything else that was going on, and my eating just went way out of control. I tried to bury everything in the food, and I ended up moving to my dad's in December of 95 and weighing 255 pounds from 170. And I stayed there to try to deal with things. I didn't want to be around most of my family and things and have to go through it, and so I stayed in New York with my dad. But my mom would say, you know, get up, do what normal people do, plan something every day instead of lying in bed and feeling sorry for yourself. But Deanna could not do it. Then it talks about my trip to the detox center to get off the pain medications. On a solo trip to Taco Bell one evening, Deanna ordered 3 burrito supremes, a bowl of refried beans, a taco pizza, and an order of nachos. When I ordered that food, I ordered 3 large drinks, because in my addictive mind, I thought, this person's going to think bad of me at the drive-thru window ordering all this food because they're going to think it's for me. So by me ordering 3 drinks, it made this person think that I was ordering food for 3 different people. And I would get home and pour 2 of the drinks down the drain and consume my food with my 1 drink. And there were tears fell down Deanna's face as she bit into the 3rd burrito. Why don't I have it in myself to care about myself more and not do this to myself? And then it starts talking about the bathroom scales, and I, of course, at 300, later on at this point, 320, 330, and I got up to 350 pounds, could not weigh on a regular bathroom scale. I had to let Melissa weigh on the scale here, and we had to ride to my chiropractor's office, and they had to weigh me on a physician's scale because that's the only thing that I could get on, where they could weigh me. So they diagnosed Melissa as having an eating disorder in her teens, and I was not diagnosed as a compulsive overeater and food addict until the age of 44. And then again it goes into the counseling for the getting off the medication, and for 1 year after I got out of the SWAFIS, for 1 full year, 365 days, I went to a meeting. I went to Cocaine Anonymous, I went to Narcotics Anonymous, I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, I went to Overeaters Anonymous, and whoops, Peppy just fell off the chair. You okay? Sorry. Everything they talk about basically is the same thing. That's chapter 2, and I just want to read something I found on the internet. Someone had asked on the medical website, is there any connection between eating disorders, alcoholism, smoking, and drug addiction? Are the causes of anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating the same as the causes for alcoholism, smoking, drugs, and other addictions? Research on eating disorders have shown that there are similarities between many cases of eating disorders and addictive conditions such as alcoholism and drug addiction. The human brain has special reward centers, and they are normally activated when a person feels well, takes care of their body, behaves sensibly, is praised for things, in love, does exercise, etc. It is also possible to stimulate these reward centers with artificial means. Drugs of all kinds, forbidden and permitted, produce chemical stimulation, which is an important part of the cause of addiction. Stimulation also blocks unpleasant feelings, and therefore those with eating disorders, as well as those with other addictive disorders, may use them to block unbearable feelings. Normal people get their stimulation of their reward centers by doing good things. They are stimulated by exercise because it's good for the body to get exercise. They are stimulated by eating because it is good for the body to become nourished. They are stimulated by being in love because it is good for the survival of the human race that people are mating. They are stimulated when they have achieved something or when they get appraisal because it is good that people do constructive things. However, if the reward center is stimulated by drugs, alcohol, abuse of food, they cease to function in the way that they are supposed to function. Abuse is a shortcut to false happiness, a happiness which does not come from doing something good. Incorrect usage of the reward center is especially common for people who have personalities requiring a lot of reward effects in order for them to feel well, and also have worry and stress which can be reduced by drugs. There is accordingly a common factor with many types of addictions: alcohol and drug disorders, eating disorders, compulsive sex dependence, compulsive gambling, compulsive exercising, self-injury, and anorexia nervosa. Even body injury can stimulate the reward center in order to protect your body from pain. This means that much of what is known about the treatment of alcoholism and drug addiction can also be used for people with food addiction and eating disorders. The patient's own ego must be strengthened and taught to refuse the kind of eating pattern which tempts with quick artificial solution. The similarity between eating disorder and drug addiction is that the addiction is compulsively developed into an even stronger form, regardless of the effect on the patient's health. Research shows, for example, that personality types that more often feel stress and anxiety need more stimulation in order to feel well. Everybody with their hereditary characteristics does not become an addict, as there are other ways of managing the problem. Medicine, which stabilizes the concentration of the serotonin in the brain, may help those who have eating disorders. So I found that online. I found that pretty interesting for people that have asked, do I just like food, or am I actually a food addict? And, am I going through the same things as someone that's addicted to alcohol, or someone that's addicted to illegal street drugs, or pain pills, narcotics, whatever the case may be. I'm at 16 minutes, so I'm going to close. But before I close, I want to let you guys, when Melissa was here, one of the people that kept up with Melissa a lot and talked to her and actually was very positive and motivational for me was the plus size model Emmy. And she sent me these books, which she signed them to me in the books. And this one is called True Beauty: Positive Attitudes and Practical Tips from the World's Leading Plus Size Model Emmy. And she also sent me this one called Life's Little Emergencies: Everyday Rescue for Beauty, Fashion, Relationship, and Life. And at the eating disorder seminar, I was given a couple of books which I could not find about food addiction, but I believe this was one of Emmy's friends, and I have her in my email, and we corresponded back a few times. She's written a few books. This one is called Why Can't I Stop Eating? Recognizing, Understanding, and Overcoming Food Addiction, a Food Plan for Life. Her name is Debbie Danowski, and she's a PhD, and Pedro Lazaro co-wrote this book with her, Why Can't I Stop Eating? For those of you that have food addictions, Debbie is a recovering food addict who has maintained a weight loss of 150 pounds for more than 10 years. And the other one that she sent me is Locked Up for Eating Too Much: The Diary of a Food Addict in Rehab. She wrote this book from her journals that she kept while she was in rehab for food addiction. And it's Debbie Danowski, PhD, in case any of you guys are interested in trying to find these for your Kindles or whatever. But I am a food addict. And I can remember calling restaurants on the phone at home when I lived by myself and ordering. We had a place called Two Guys Pizza, and their single dinner was in a big aluminum casserole dish this big and this thick. I would order a lasagna, and I would order a ziti with meatballs, and it came with breadsticks, and it came with a salad. And while I was on the phone ordering the food, I would yell. I'd say, "Can you hold for a moment?" And I'd say, "Hey, do you want salad, or are you sure you want salad with your dinner?" Because again, I was worried that that person on the other end of the phone was thinking, "Wow, this person's going to eat all this food." They could have cared less, I'm sure, just like the drive-through person at Taco Bell when I was ordering 3 sodas. But there's so much guilt. There's so much guilt and pain and embarrassment from the food addiction. I'll talk about it more later, I know, but I mean, even since Ron has been living here with me in the last 7 years, I mean, I would stick a Pop-Tart package in my pocket on the side he couldn't see as I walked down the hall when he was in the guitar room or in there on his laptop, and I would go back to the bedroom and I would sneak and eat the Pop-Tart. And I mean, sneaking food, is a sign of food addiction. I'm at 20 minutes, but I'm going to do this very quick. For concerned adults, these are some signs of an eating disorder. Your child is constantly complaining about being fat, obese, or huge. Your child often goes to the restroom right after meals and stays in there for an undetermined period of time. Your child feels like she does not have control over food. Your child has lost a significant amount of weight over a short period of time. The child has an enormous preoccupation with body weight and the foods they're eating. Your child comes up with new excuses not to eat much, like I already ate or I have an upset stomach. Your child tends to have swollen glands in his and her neck or face and bloodshot eyes. Your child eats a lot but does not seem to gain weight or lose much weight. Your child is extremely defensive when you question them about their weight. Your child uses food to help them cope with stress and emotional distress. And one thing, like with Melissa, and children and young teenagers and up do it, they will put 2 or 3 layers of clothes on so you don't see that they're losing weight. So if you have children that you're concerned about having issues, talk to a doctor and just ask them, tell them that you're concerned about things, and please don't let it go. That's it for this episode of my food addiction series on my story from the paper. I will put the link for chapter 2 from the paper at the bottom so you can read everything with Melissa and everything else that was written in there about me underneath the video. God bless you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the questions and the emails and the nice comments that you put. And I hope this can be an inspiration to someone. If it touches and helps one person, then that's what it's all about. But I love you guys. God bless you. Bye.